All right, everybody. So I've been watching a few YouTube videos from some well-known reptile posters, and there seems to be some confusion here on just how easy it is to set up a leopard gecko enclosure. And you need a humid hide. Leopard geckos shed their skin, they eat their skin, they need help. And I see them not included. Even if you have a water bowl that is big enough for the leopard gecko to soak in, the leopard gecko will only soak in the water bowl if it's extremely dehydrated, no matter the size of the water bowl. It's just going to drink from the water bowl, and like I said, only soak if it's dehydrated. It's not going to go in there, or I should say, it's not going to feel comfortable going in there if it's shedding. What it wants is a humid hide. And I've gone over this before. There's many ways to accomplish this. You can use sphagnum moss, you can use a cave that's, a pre-made cave, and you put sphagnum moss in the ground and around the outside. There's a lot of ways, but one thing I'll tell you, I really like old Tupperware that you just cut a little hole out of and put some wet paper towel in there for a few reasons. One is it's super easy to clean because if you think about it, it's wet. The leopard gecko could have just went to the restroom and then needs to, then goes in the humid hide, and then it brings waste along with it and it gets dirty, or maybe it eats in there. Sphagnum moss, you have to keep it clean. And a lot of times there's a lot of bacteria in a sphagnum moss humid hide. Not that they're impossible to do, and I actually use some of them, but with leopard geckos especially, you have to keep it clean. So I'm gonna go ahead. Ariel's in here. She's doing great. Everyone asks about her. You'll see how thick her tail is. She's going through a full body shed, which is most of the time what leopard geckos do is they'll shed full body. So she's gone into her humid hide to shed. So she's gonna look extremely pale because there's a lot of loose dead skin on her, and you'll be able to see it. So this is kind of a twofold, an update on her and an update just on leopard gecko shedding. So let's turn this down just a touch. Perfect. Lock it in, and I'll pull her a little bit closer. Okay, so if we take a peek, we can see all this loose skin. This is because the hide is humid. You can tell your leopard gecko is getting ready to shed, especially if it's a colored leopard gecko. They start to look really white and pale. That's normal. That's actually the dead layer of skin that is starting to get ready to come off. It's not ready to come off yet, but it's getting ready. It's dying. It's detached. Their bodies are no longer feeding it. So they won't go into the humid hide right away then. Then, as the layer is ready to be crinkled off and come off, that's when they're going to go into the humid hide, because they're going to want this to be nice and soft. And when they roll around in here or they bend around, you can see that this is, a circle. It's a Cool Whip container. But if you look at her her head was facing to the right, then her body was bent this way, and then her tail came back around this way, because they're just getting into a spot where if they move and they stretch and they pull, the skin's just going to come off. And then eventually, she'll use her hands, her claws, she'll pull it off, she'll eat it. It's going to be really good. Now, because they eat their skin, it's another reason why you want this enclosure to be really clean. Let me show you where it looks like where she's been sitting, because again, it's just dirty. You just sit there for a long time. She could have came in. Look at all this. She could have came in from the where she goes to the restroom and then decided to pop a squat. So it gets dirty. You want them to be clean in here. You want it to be bacteria free, and you want it to be clean. That way their skin, when it comes off, it doesn't rub around in this waste material, and then she ends up eating it. That's not good. So normally, I would tell you, you leave your leopard gecko in there, you let them shed, clean it up after the shed, which is what I do. I clean it up after a big shed, and I look at it once a week when I clean the leopard gecko's enclosure to see if it needs to be changed out. In this case, because I have it opened for the video, I'll go ahead and I'll swap out this paper towel just because I have it opened. So Ariel, she's fine, even though she looks wrinkly. Remember, her eyes are so sunken back. So if you look at her eyes, you'll see they're puffed a little bit. That's because she always gets, because her eyes are so back, she always gets dead skin. Her eyes always need a good cleaning after the shed. I wait until the shed is completely done, at least around her face. That way, any of that mask that got stuck in her eye, I can just whoop and pull it right out. So you've seen this be done before, and I'm just going to do it again real quick, and this is just how I do it. Again, I love Cool Whip container because it is round. It, kind of forces your gecko to go into a circle shape. Take the old one. It's very dirty, but still very wet. So we're going to clean it just for clean sake, and if you look at the lid, it's very dirty. So I'm going to give that a good wash under the sink real quick, and then we're going to come back. Okay, nothing crazy. It just got rinsed. It's in much better condition. I like using a full square of paper towel. You've seen it before. If you have the kind of half lengths like mine is where you could rip it, I use 2, fold it in half, fold it in half again, and you've got a square. We then wet the square like we always do. I just take the mister, and I'm just going to give this a good spray down. Sweet. She's going to go explore, and that's fine. So once this thing is misted, let's not suicide jump though, okay? I take the corners, I fold them in because obviously a Cool Whip container, like I said, is round. You prevent your leopard gecko from just jumping into the abyss. Top on. It's nice and clean in there. It doesn't sit perfectly flat, and that's fine because they rub against this, and it's not soaking wet. You don't need to go and spray all this water in there. Sometimes I see people, they'll add water. It'll be soaking out. Again, they're not going to soak in water. They're just going where it's a little humid. And I just want to give you a little look of her before I let her go back in. Like I said, she's fine. Her yellow-orange color is really coming through. Her tail is nice and big. It's storing a lot of water. She's not dehydrated. You can see the skin. It's already starting to peel away. It's just, she's doing great. She's shedding great. She's drinking. All good. And like you guys have seen before, she no longer gets tube fed. Let's see if she'll go for a little bite to eat, even though she's shedding. She may not. We'll see. You hungry? You want to eat this super worm? I'll try to get it in the video. Okay, come here. This super worm wants to wiggle around because it doesn't want to die. What is that? Sometimes they won't eat when they shed because they're going to eat their shed. They're low on energy. And this appears to be one of those times. You sure? Last try? Sometimes we like it butt first, so let's see. Oh, it's a good lick. You know what it is? Oh, another good lick. Oh. Oh. Maybe? No? Okay. Well, she's not going to eat, which is normal. She's shedding. So it's, oh, wait. Oh. There goes Crunch. Never mind. She's like, you know what? I'll take it if you're going to bring it to me. Let's get this. She's just going to eat it down. She got a super worm because she came out for a video. She gets her treat. All done. A little bit left out. There it goes. Very good. Like I said, she's doing just great. Now, we will take her, and since I'm going to put her back in her cage, we'll just put her back in her humid hide. Go back in there. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for this video, showing everybody how to shed. You guys have a great day. Take care.